So hello there, my name's Daniel Lemaitre, welcome to the review. And this is D7101. And later on, as you probably know, he was painted green in the Railway series and called Bear because of the growling noise that he makes, and he was given the proper high met colours. When he first appeared, and before he became known as Bear, he was painted blue, as you can see in this illustration here. And illustration wise, we didn't see much of him when he was in blue. He appears sort of like in the background in this photo, as you can see here, and then in this one as well. So like I say, he didn't appear much in his blue livery, but I think the detail on this is absolutely superb. And like I said, he was only in the Railway series. He never actually made it to the TV series, but then again, there's been a few other characters that never quite made it into the TV series. They were only in the Railway series, him obviously being one of them. But then again, obviously the small engines, they were in the Railway series, and then all of a sudden they now appear in the CGI animated series. So maybe D7101 will one day, but from what I've seen, the way the show's going, I very highly doubt now that he will. But like I said, I think he is an absolutely fantastic model, and he runs really well indeed.
One big colour off the walls, and that took hours to lift and repaint.
Look, he's got the chaps.
He's got stuck. But yeah, no, apart from that little glitch, he runs really well indeed. So as you can see there, he does run really nicely, I'm sure you'll agree. Like I said, I do like the detail on this. So you've got little silver handrails there, and one along the top just there. It's funny actually, really, when you stop to look at it, you don't realise some of these details. And there's not really much of a model I can compare him to. Obviously, as you know, Bachmann produced some of the engines. As I've said before, some of them I think in the Bachmann range look a lot better than they did in the Hornby range. And however, as I said, this was only in Hornby. So the next closest thing, I mean, there's not much merchandise with Bear D7101. All I can really compare him to is his Ertl die-cast model, as you can see here. So I've got one out of the box, and I really like the Ertl die-cast range. And I think it's fair to say that the last few models that they actually produced were a lot more detailed, and considering this is obviously aimed at the children's market, them die-cast models, the detail was absolutely superb. And I've got one that I kept in the box as well. And again, looking at his little animation on the back of the box, I think that's even better than this in some ways. I think the one thing that lets this down is the face. So like the face, as you can see here, is just basically a yellow block with a face drawn on. It's not painted on, again, like it was in the Railway series, and again on his Ertl model. I think, as I say, the face is a lot better on the Ertl model, and if they'd done the same on here, it would have been better. I mean, also as well on the face, although I criticised the face, the yellow on the face is the right colour. It's slightly darker than the yellow around his windows and that. And if they'd used the yellow that's on the little block rather than that bright yellow, I think it would have looked even more fantastic. My next criticism really would be the roof. It's just sort of a blue colour, whereas again on the Ertl model, they've used grey and black and that, and I think if they'd have used that on the top here, it would have looked a lot better. Like I say, it's a bit hard to sort of criticise the roof really, because obviously from what we've seen in the Railway series, we didn't see much of his roof, although I can imagine the Ertl model was a lot more detailed. And again, not all the Ertl diecast ones were that fantastic, but again, towards the end, I think they were really, really good indeed. And yeah, but I do really like this model. And as you've probably seen, I collect a lot of the old Ertl ones that I've kept. And I remember me and my nan passed away 5 years ago now it'll be. And so we used to go down to Northampton Market when they had a really good market, and there actually used to be a stall that sold Ertl diecasts. So for me, that was a bit of heaven really. And unfortunately, you don't really get anything like that now. Unfortunately, not many model shops. However, so it'd be 5 years ago, which was a couple of months after my nan passed away. My dad and I went to this model shop in Poole when we went on holiday. We went to the Swans Railway as well, but we went to this model shop here, and I actually saw this on one of the shelves, and I think they had Hornby Toby and Hornby Spencer as well. I mean, Hornby don't make the Thomas range anymore; they've discontinued it, which I think is a real shame. That they actually had this, and I can't actually remember where I got this. I think my parents got it for me. I sort of saw it, and they bought it for me as a present. So I mean, I didn't pay for it anyway. However, it was actually cheaper in the shop than it was the price that I got it for on the internet. So sometimes buying on the internet isn't always cheaper. You can't always win. But like I said, this is a present, so I never paid for it anyway. And I've kept a lot of my old Ertl diecasts, because like I said, my nan brought me some, or she gave me money towards some and that. So so I've kept them, because they have a sentimental reason. So like I said, and I've got ones obviously I've collected and kept in the boxes as well. But I'm definitely going to keep hold of them, and I like all the old sort of memorabilia of Thomas. And as you can see here, I've got two of the annuals, and the 1981 is actually signed by the Reverend W. Audrey. And I only paid a few pounds for it in charity shop, so that's quite good really. Definitely going to keep hold of that, the fact that it's actually been signed. And what I really like about it is it's in what I like to call the real Thomas. With the Railway series, I do prefer, in some ways, particularly now, prefer the Railway series to the TV series of the show. And it's not just got Thomas in it, but real engines as well. And it probably, nowadays, it probably wouldn't pass as a children's book, because of how educational it is, probably, and the fact that it's got real engines in, not just all cartoons and animators and that like Thomas is nowadays. Something else I got as well, as you can see here, I've got these badges, and I brought them a couple of years ago, and that was at Rushden, where I used to exhibit every September for Model Weekend, as I mentioned earlier. And the money from them badges actually went towards preserving one of their diesel locomotives they've got there. I've actually driven a Class 31 on that line before. It might have been towards that one, I can't remember. It's been about 3 years ago. And again, if you look at this model, you can see it here in the box. The box is absolutely superb. It's in the old style of packaging. There was obviously a newer style of packaging with the CGI Thomas, as you probably saw in my other videos. So, as I said before, 7101 hasn't appeared very much. So he's only really been in the Railway series. He's also been in a few of the annuals as well. Like I said, which I've got. Like I said, so he's never been in the TV series. So in some ways, I'm quite glad that Hornby have made him, really, because a lot of the other Rangers probably wouldn't make him because he's not been in the TV series, unlike a lot of other characters. So yeah, and again, what I like about Hornby is as I've said, I've got the Ertl diecast ones. And they're great, particularly when I was younger. I mean, I don't really play with them now. I've still got them, but I don't play with them. But when I was younger, being able to push them around and that. But then obviously, the joy of having a Hornby model like this is that you can just put it on the track, turn on the controller and just watch it go round and round and round. For me, that's the joy, really. And I suppose as well, because these aren't more aimed at the children's market, going back to, when I was younger, if I had this, I mean, I was over the age of 10 when this was released, and that. But as I say, when I was younger, if I was younger, the fact for me, I'd be able to say, that's D7101, and and just I'd accept it really. I wouldn't really look at the detail on it, but like I said, all the way around, I do think there is some really good detail on it. And if I had to give him a score, I'd give him a 9 out of 10. Another thing as well is the buffers are sprung type buffers. They're not just fixed on ones, so they've got like a bit of a spring, so you can push them in and out. So that's quite nice. And in the shadow, they look quite dark, but the buffers are actually silver. But like I said, when they're in the shadow, they look black, but no, they are actually silver. So they've got the colour of the buffers correct. And obviously, I've done a review on this before, but it was a joint one with D261. And again, you probably remember me mentioning that I painted his buffers the correct silver colour. The same with Stepney. Yet you've got Murdoch, and Murdoch's buffers came in silver in the Hornby range when they're actually black. So yeah, I think this is a really nice model overall. And thank you very much for watching. And goodbye.